Hello, John aka Chicken Fillets here. Now usually when I do a list video it's all about JRPGs that I want you to play, but this time round I wanted to get the Chicken Fillets community, yes I called it that, the Chicken Fillets community to recommend JRPGs that you should play. And before you ask, yes I've cut my finger recently. So I put a post out on YouTube basically asking, well, what JRPGs would you recommend? And I did mention that this would be for a video. So the results are in, I've tallied up everyone's entries and I have compiled 7 JRPGs that you should play according to my community. Now before we get cracking on with the video, if you like JRPGs and if you like lists etc, and like hearing a wee Scottish guy talk about them, well please consider subscribing to the channel. Anyway, let's get cracking on. Dragon Quest XI Echoes of the Elusive Age, one of the longest gaming titles out there. This fan favourite Dragon Quest game has been voted by you, the viewers of the Chicken Fillet videos, on a JRPG that you should play. Now the game was originally released on PlayStation 4 back in 2017 with later releases on the Nintendo Switch. There is also available to play on PC and Xbox. Now in this JRPG we follow our protagonist, the Luminary, on his way to the World Tree to save the world. Your standard Dragon Quest affair. And with this being a Dragon Quest game, yes, this has the classic turn-based combat. This has been dubbed as one of the greatest JRPGs ever made, and this is why it's on this list, but as voted by the Chicken Fillet community. It's a gorgeous looking JRPG, and especially with the Definitive Edition which originally released on the Nintendo Switch, it had extra modes. You could play this in a classic style, a top-down 2D version of the game. And I mean, come on, it's got the classic Dragon Quest soundtracks in there. Why wouldn't you want to play this? Next up, we have Persona 5 Royal, the Juggernaut JRPG from Atlus. Now in this JRPG, we follow Joker and the Phantom Piece as they look to steal the hearts of their enemies. Sporting a fantastic turn-based combat system, a utter belter of a soundtrack, and amazing graphics, this is one of the best JRPGs that you could ever play. Now if you're unaware, Persona 5 Royal is the enhanced edition of the original Persona 5 release, which was actually out in 2017. Persona 5 Royal is the complete package. It has new levels, it has new characters, and it has introduced new mechanics into the game, which makes this the best option to play. As someone who has played both the original at release and the Royal Edition, which I played on Nintendo Switch, this is definitely a JRPG that you should play, and quite rightly, yes, this has been a fantastic recommendation from my community.
You for real?
Dragon Quest VIII Journey of the Cursed King. And yes, it's another Dragon Quest game which has been recommended by my community. Now this Dragon Quest title was originally released on the PlayStation 2 back in 2004 with an additional port released on the Nintendo 3DS. And this Dragon Quest title was the first of the Dragon Quest games to go fully 3D. And of course it has the traditional turn-based combat that you would expect from any Dragon Quest game. Now usually at this stage of the game I would give you my own recommendations, what I thought of the game, but this is actually a Dragon Quest game that I've not played myself. I do have it for my PlayStation 2, I've played a little bit of it, but I can't really make a full-on recommendation. I did have it for the Nintendo 3DS, but the copy I got secondhand had an issue with it. It kept on glitching and wouldn't let me restart the game. It was a bit of a pain in the backside, if I'm honest. However, I trust the Chicken Fillets community. I cannot get over saying that. But I do trust my community with this, and this is definitely a JRPG that should be on your list to play. Persona 4, the Atlus JRPG, which originally released on the PlayStation 2, then got later ported as the Golden Edition for the PS Vita, and it's now thankfully on all modern consoles. Now in this title, we follow our protagonist who has moved to the little town of Inaba and has been mixed up in a murder mystery, and it's up to him and his team to solve who is the killer. Now in this, we use a turn-based combat system where you will use the power of personas to help you through battle. Now straight away, I can highly recommend this JRPG because this is one of my all-time favourite games. Everything about the world of Persona 4, from the town of Inaba to the characters, the music, the turn-based combat, the social link system, everything about this game is just amazing. So yes, the Chicken Fillets community has pulled through on this, and yes, this is definitely a JRPG that I would recommend and that they would recommend. But the question is, would you recommend it? Let me know in the comments down below. The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. This is the first entry in the Crossbell duology in the Trails of series. This epic JRPG from Falcom originally started its life on the PSP, and it was a Japan exclusive for the longest time. But now we have this in an official capacity where you can play the official Western release on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and available on PC as well. Now in this, we follow Lloyd Bannings and the SSS as they police the streets of Crossbell. And when it comes to the combat, yes, we have another game which has got turn-based combat. Now, if you've never played a Falcom game or a Legend of Heroes game, this has got one of the best turn-based combat systems out there. Now, don't let the graphics put you off if you've not played this game before. This has everything in droves. The story is fantastic. You'll fall in love with the characters. And honestly, when you complete the game and get to those end credits, you'll never want to leave Crossbell and you want to go back again. This is how good the Crossbell arc is if you've not played it before. I started off my journey with the Cold Steel saga, and to me, I thought that was always going to be my favourite. But then I experienced Trails from Zero, and I experienced its sequel, and this completely changed my mind. This has got the best set of characters, the best story. It's no wonder that this is a fan favourite. I think it's safe to say this is another win for my community, is it not? Great choice once again. Persona 3 Reload, the remake of the PS2 classic JRPG from Atlus, Persona 3. This remake had been on the wish list for many JRPG enthusiasts for the longest time, and Atlus finally came through with this release. Now in this, we follow our protagonists and the SEES as they explore the origins of the Dark Hour. And in this, we have turn-based combat where you will be using the powers of your personas to help you through battle. Now, would you actually believe this is a JRPG I've not personally played myself? I have played Persona 3 Fez on the PlayStation 2, but I've not played this re-release yet. But from all the feedback, all the videos, all the music I've heard, everything about this remake seems to hit the right notes. Yes, there is some things that some JRPG players would have liked to see, like the likes of the female protagonist from Persona 3 Portable being added. And with the extra story content coming for the game, well, there's even more reason to get your hands on this JRPG. Now, before we get onto the number one pick, let's have a look at the honourable mentions. Now, I didn't want to leave any of the games out which were recommended. These are the entries which only received one vote. And because my community is important to me, well, I thought it'd be important to show all your games as well. Let's have a look. We have had an epic selection of JRPGs recommended in this honourable mentions list. Whether they have turn-based combat, whether they have action-based combat, they are fantastic JRPGs that you could definitely sink your teeth into. I would like to thank everyone for putting their game forward, so it was important that your game got recognised in this video. I'd also like to thank everyone who has supported this channel so far. It has meant the absolute world to me. Now, if you are actually new to the channel, if this is your first time seeing one of these videos, well, I like to try and be as positive as possible, and if you want to be kept up to date with everything JRPGs, I want to hear a wee Scottish guy talk about them, well, please help me grow the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Anyway, enough waffling from me. Now with everyone's game shown here, let's have a look at the number 1 pick. Xenoblade Chronicles, the Nintendo JRPG from Monolith Soft Studios. Xenoblade Chronicles originally got released in Japan in 2010 and in PAL regions in 2011, and after a successful campaign by players, it got released in the US in 2012. From here we got it ported to Nintendo 3DS, and then it finally got a definitive edition on Nintendo Switch, which is the way I've played it. And in this we follow Shulk and his companions who are stuck in between a war between humans and robots, which is set on the back of 2 massive dead titans. This has a auto combat system, so your characters will attack automatically. You will just be selecting special attacks throughout battle. Xenoblade Chronicles is a special JRPG. The sheer scale and size of this is epic. The fact that your characters are walking on the dead corpses of these massive creatures and life has sprung upon these creatures, it's amazing. With a deep story as well to sink your teeth into and characters that you'll fall in love with, it is the perfect package. There is a reason why Xenoblade Chronicles reached number 1 in this list. It is seen as one of the best JRPGs in my community. And for me, Xenoblade Chronicles is an utterly amazing JRPG which everyone should play. So there we have it, 7 JRPGs that you should play according to my community. Is there any JRPGs that you think we missed out? Well, let us know in the comments down below. Now if you like what you're hearing and seeing on the channel, please help me grow it by liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillets, well, hit that notification bell. This has been John, aka Chicken Fillets, and until next time, ta-ta bye!